My paper researches the ethics of disenfranchisement. Disenfranchisement is the process of stripping a citizen of their right to vote. In my research, I've decided to analyze the ethics of disenfranchisement through two different philosophical models that attempt to analyze a society's morals and ethics, such as a society's use of disenfranchisement. One of the models I will use is utilitarianism, popularized by philosopher J.S. Mills. The other model I will use is Rawlsian, from the book A Theory of Justice, written by John Rawls. The process of completing my research and converting it into a paper my classmates can appreciate is proven to be difficult and complicated. As in my paper, I need to give a thorough breakdown of how utilitarian and Rawlsian view the world before I can jump into the potential beliefs on various forms of punishment. Only after providing my readers with an understanding of the general principles of these ideologies can I begin to break down how the two models would view different forms of punishment, namely disenfranchisement. In my research, I discovered three theories of punishment administered by societies when a member deviates from its established rules. They are deterrence, retribution, and rehabilitation. One of the goals of my paper is to explain why disenfranchisement should be categorized as deterrence. Then I will examine what a utilitarian and a Rawlsian reaction might be to these theories of punishment, and finally, whether a utilitarian and a Rawlsian would approve of or disapprove of the punishment of disenfranchisement. First, I will discuss deterrence, the harshest of the three punishments. The aim of deterrence, when utilized, is to administer a punishment that deters other people from committing the same crime. The goal of deterrence is to administer a punishment that is, by its very nature, disproportionate to the crime committed. Again, to discourage people from committing the same crime, meaning that deterrence intentionally overpunishes. While extreme, deterrence may align with what a utilitarian believes. This is because a utilitarian viewpoint may approve of using a member of society as a demonstration, if that means that it achieves a greater good for the society. That is because any moral quandary can and should be resolved by calculating the net effects of the alternatives on overall happiness and choosing the course that produces the most happiness or least suffering. Essentially, when using utilitarianism, a dilemma can be broken down into a cost-benefit analysis of how many good units are produced versus how many bad units are produced based off a certain decision or action provided by the society. And one that computes the greater number of goods or the greater number of average units is the one that's chosen. The other ethical framework I will be using is Rawls. A just society, according to Rawls, would make ethical decisions derived from the original position. This can be thought of as an experiment in which we do not know where we'll be in a society and determine what we'd want a fair society to look like if we lack that knowledge. Basically, if we lacked our own self-interest. Rawls' original position can be conceived through an experiment he created. This is an experiment of choosing moral principles behind the veil of ignorance. It functions by society's members imagining themselves in a position where they know nothing about themselves, of their abilities, sex, race, and most importantly, of their current social standing in the society, as this ensures that no one is advantaged or disadvantaged in choosing principles by the outcome, their natural chance, or the contingency of the social circumstances. At this stage in my research, I've determined that disenfranchisement should be categorized under the form of punishment known as deterrence, as I feel it is a punishment that intentionally overpunishes to get other members of the society to not commit a given crime. I think that essentially a utilitarian could justify this form of punishment, while Rawlsian would not choose to do such a thing. So at this point, I have a couple of questions for my classmates. And so understanding what you do at this moment about these two different philosophical models, do you believe I'm accurate in saying that disenfranchisement should be categorized as a deterrence? In other words, do you think that a government administers this punishment to intentionally overpunish a perpetrator in order to deter others from committing the same crime? Basically, does that seem fair to say? And my other question is a bit more vague and more open-ended, but how viable does my paper look at this point? I ask because I feel I've fallen down a rabbit hole a bit, trying to understand which frameworks I should use in order to determine whether or not disenfranchisement is an ethical form of punishment in the United States. Again, at this point, I'm analyzing the dilemma through utilitarians and Rawlsians' eyes. Do you feel this abides by the paper's instructions, as I feel my papers become a bit abstract at this point? Thank you for your time.